President Trump overnight drawing some laughs, not to mention raising a few eyebrows on everything from Jared Kushner to North Korea.
At a time of unprecedented chaos in the White House, even by Trumpian standards, the president tried a new tactic Saturday night, telling jokes in a room filled with members of a group he loves to vilify, the news media. ABC's David Wright has more on this story from the White House. David, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Dan and Cecilia. Think of this as Donald in the lion's den. The president and the first lady dining out with the very people he derides as fake news. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump were there, too. You know, for more than 100 years, the Gridiron dinner has been a rite of passage for every president except for Grover Cleveland. And last night, it was Trump's turn. Dressed in white tie and tails, President Trump gamely showed up for an evening of humor, mostly at his own expense. At the Gridiron dinner, which was closed to cameras, Trump joked about himself, his rivals, and the media, saying it was the most fun he'd had with the media since watching their faces on election night 2016. He took some swipes at some of his enemies, saying he knows how to deal with a madman like Kim Jong-un. Quote, "That's his problem, not mine." He called House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi crazy and said former Vice President Joe Biden should not run for president because he says such outrageous things. And Trump pointedly said that he offered to give Attorney General Jeff Sessions a ride to the dinner, but Sessions recused himself. Earlier in the day, Trump auditioned some material at a Mar-a-Lago fundraiser. Trump joked there about China's president, Xi Jinping. He's now president for life, Trump said. Maybe we'll have to give that a shot someday. Last night, Trump made it back to the White House in plenty of time to catch the cold open of SNL. Alec Baldwin again.
I said I was going to run this country like a business. That business is a Waffle House at 2 a.m. Crazies everywhere, staff walking out in the middle of their shift, managers taking money out of the cash register to pay off the Russian mob.
All of this on a day that the president escalated talk of a possible trade war. Last week, after Trump threatened new tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, the European Union and Canada threatened to retaliate. On Saturday, Trump tweeted that if the EU does raise its tariffs, he'll slap a hefty tax on European cars. By all accounts, Trump's trip to the Gridiron dinner was a success. The president showing some good humor. He even apologized for being late, joking that Kushner had a tough time getting through security. Dan and Cecilia?
I liked that one. I thought that was a good joke.
I don't think Jared liked it, but...
Yeah, I know. He was right there, too. And David, the New York Times reporting this morning a new development in Special Counselor Robert Mueller's investigation. Kushner could be facing some heat there.
That's right. Kushner's business ties in the region are now under scrutiny. The Times reports that Mueller is now talking with a Lebanese-American businessman who made several trips to the White House ahead of President Trump's trip to the Middle East. It's a sign that the Mueller probe may be expanding to look at possible influence peddling overseas. Dan and Cecilia?
David, thank you. Let's bring in our chief anchor, George Stephanopoulos, who's going to be hosting this week a little later this morning.
Guys.
George, good morning. I want to get back to this trade war that President Trump only seems to be escalating talk of a trade war with his tweets.
Yeah, it seems to have already started.
But there are people in his own party and in his own administration who think this is a terrible idea. This week he has to make a decision and roll out the tariffs if he's going to do it. Do we think he's actually going to do it?
Well, the president surprised his own team with the announcement on Thursday. As you said, his top economic advisor, Gary Cohn, is against this. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin is against it. The congressional leaders, Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House, and Mitch McConnell, the leader in the Senate, all against this. And they are lobbying the president furiously to modify this announcement before it is formally made this week. You also see a lot of pressure from our allies in Europe. So far, the president doesn't appear to be backing down, but this is the million-dollar question. Is he going to go forward with it this week? Is it going to be modified at all? It's the question I'm going to be asking Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross when he comes on This Week later this morning.
And people in his own administration didn't even know what he was going to do this past
Ross
week on that front.
Yeah, Ross is definitely for it.
And given all the turmoil and then just the craziness of the week in Washington news, NRA and guns seems like a long time ago, but this was
only Wednesday.
I mean, it was really only Wednesday, but this was a really huge headline. In this meeting in the White House, the president seemed to side with Democrats on gun control. Then he brought the NRA in, and then he sort of did this flip-flop. Where do we stand, and what are they going to do?
I think the ambivalence and the flip-flop didn't seem to side. The president,
yeah, he sided
with the Democrats. He said, give me a comprehensive gun control bill that includes universal background checks. He talked about raising the minimum age for gun purchases. Then he meets behind closed doors at night in the Oval Office with the NRA. They come out tweeting no new gun control. I think the fact, unless the president is full bore behind this for a comprehensive plan, it's not going to happen in this Congress. So I think the chances of anything major getting through right now have diminished significantly over the course of this week. Now, you never know if the president's going to change again, but right now it looks like nothing is going to happen, nothing significant at least.
We've been talking about the chaos in the West Wing of late. Look at this headline in the Washington Post this morning. It says, "Pure madness. Dark days in the White House as Trump shocks and rages." Is there a sense that when Trump feels besieged and isolated, he's lost some of his top aides, including Hope Hicks, is there a sense that when he's like this, that it impacts policy?
Well, of course it does. You saw it this week on both guns and trade. There are a lot of reports from inside the White House that actually the reason he decided to go forward with this shocking trade announcement was kind of to show everybody, I'm in charge after all these questions about what's going on inside the White House. So there's no question about that. You know, that pure madness quote comes from a Trump ally. Mm-hmm. I mean, and this is what's happening right now, what you're seeing right now in that Washington Post story, what Cecilia's reporting every single day. A lot of people inside the White House worried that the president is isolated, worried that he's on his own right now, and that with cascading consequences across the landscape.
Love our Sunday mornings with George. Thank
Thanks,
you very
guys.
much, George. A reminder, he's got a big show this morning. Former Chief of Staff Reince Priebus and Trump ally and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie will weigh in on the tumultuous week in the White House.
Plus, well, and Democratic Senator Chris Murphy responds to the president's shifting positions on gun control debate. It's all coming up on this week. And of course, that powerhouse roundtable, obviously. Yeah.
See you in an hour.
Not a powerhouse in Las Vegas on it. Thank you, George.
See you guys. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.